So recently, one of my female friends posted an article on Facebook regarding the possibility that Jesus, the Messiah, 2,000 years ago, who died on the cross, is not a real historical figure. And I can tell she was very confused. She didn't really do any research about, the Christian faith and the Bible and the validity of, Jesus being a historical figure. And so she, amongst other people in her comments on her page, sort of spoke up and kind of gave their opinions about, feeling like Jesus was really not possibly real. I really shared with them just three things that basic things that I knew personally. And it's just something to help people understand, or just understand that, Jesus was a historical figure. And it's just three areas that I sort of shared with each of them. And there's a possibility they didn't really care. To be honest, the Bible kind of shares that when a person is very comfortable in their sin and being detached from the God of the Bible, people often would prefer to create their own fake pretend God in their minds and be content with that God, the one who says it's okay to drink and abuse alcohol, or it's okay to have sex outside of marriage, or it's okay to do pornography, or lie, cheat, steal, all these evil things. So often most people don't care to hear about the truth, the real historical Jesus and what he said, because it makes them feel uncomfortable, honestly. So that's typically why people don't care for the Bible. One of the things I shared was that there are first century historians that actually address the validity of Jesus, people that were alive when Jesus was alive 2,000 years ago. One is Josephus. He actually wrote about the entire Roman Empire. He converted to the Roman Empire, being a Jewish man, but he didn't want to die, so he wrote records for them. And there are volumes that we can actually pick up about what he wrote. There's also Suetonius, who wrote about Jesus by name. And there's also Tacitus. And Gary Habermas, a historian alive today, actually has over 30 sources that I know of outside of the Bible that validates the historical position that Jesus was a real-life historical figure. We also have the Bible. I know some people feel skeptical to even look at the Bible, but there's no contradictions when it comes to historical dates, figures like Pontius Pilate, who was a governor in 2,000 years ago for the Roman Empire in Jerusalem, Palestine. There's a lot of people that have attempted to degrade and refute the Bible, and they've always lost. There's no one still to this day who's ever refuted any part in the Bible that that has been accurate. And I know that it's very popular to say, hey, let's go to this atheist site and let's find the contradictions, but typically when you go and evaluate the contradictions very closely, you find out that it's not the Bible that's wrong, it's us. But yeah, there's names, dates. I think Luke, who was a doctor, was very careful with how he documented his findings and his location. So there's archaeologists that have been able to even verify certain areas that Luke actually mentioned, in certain places, in Palestine. But the last thing I actually always like to bring up is the fact that even our years, like for example, we're in 2019, it's actually labeled 2019 AD. AD is a Latin term, it's an abbreviation for Anno Domini, and that is a Latin word for Year of the Lord. So our years are actually based on the life of Jesus. So 2019 is actually 2019 years since Jesus walked the earth. 2019 AD. So I just try to, and that was just stuff on the top of my head I can share. And I shared with them, and they kind of quieted down after I shared with them, because I think most people are not accustomed to Christians actually researching and learning about their faith, and then actually being able to express them very clearly. So, but it's just important that for those of us in Christ to have something to say when people challenge us about our faith, and be polite and be humble, but share and speak up. I'm not trying to argue with people and make people uncomfortable and things like that, but 10 out of 10 people die statistically. So if we're going to gamble with our lives and our eternities, we need to figure out at least what's going on and what are the options. As you create your own fake God or pretend God in your mind, you're going to find yourself outside of heaven, locked out, once you are judged by God, by his standard that requires moral perfection. The only way you can get into heaven is two ways. Whether you're morally perfect in every single way, or you put your faith in Christ and let him, what he did on the cross on your behalf, die for you, so you don't have to suffer. It's either one or the other. So God bless you guys. Take care and speak up, Christians. This world is dying. Speak up.